Hello. Hello. Today, I've been a little bit unmotivated recently, so today we have a study session in my new flat slash house that I'm cat sitting in. Yes, I'm cat sitting, and then this will become my new apartment slash house. It was very unexpected, but I'm very, very happy about that. And yes, feeling very blessed today. Been having a very good first day here, and just finished out like a lot of work. We are officially done with my research study. Yes, that was like 2 years in the making, so I feel really light. Like, it was very work intensive for the last few months, and just like a lot of extra work on my work, and I had like another job, and so I've been just feeling like a bit weird. And then I just randomly got this invitation to move here, so everything kind of happened at once, and it's been kind of like a lot to process. So yeah, I've just been working this morning, and then I've just been sitting here like, whoa, the level of freedom. And then I have less than 20 texts left in this project. So yeah, it feels a bit weird because I feel like there's just this really intense concentrated energy going on in my tiny little apart room, and now I'm in like a big house with like freedom from these jobs that were like really time intensive. And yeah, I don't know, it's been a lot to process. So yeah, but I just got an email today from my master's degree program telling me my required reading, which was like a kick in the butt, like, go finish your project or you won't get to do that in time. So today we are going to attempt to be finishing some more texts. I want to read at least 3 or 4 in the next few hours, so I'm just gonna show you guys like a little study session, as I now have a whole kitchen to myself, a whole fridge to myself. I have a TV now. What? I didn't even have a TV. I didn't have any of that. So like the most luxurious study video you're gonna get in this whole playlist so far. Yeah, here's your new. Mosey. Mosey. Mosey, come on. You can get it. Coming? You coming? Tell you guys the connection I'm currently trying to make based off everything I'm reading, because now it's getting to the point where I'm just making a bunch of different like important connections for my papers. But I've been reading, I realized that I had been neglecting whatever to read the DSM-5 and the actual definitions in the DSM-5. So I've been reading those recently, and I said in another video, I'm trying to make a connection between arousal and PTSD, and arousal and the acetylcholine and how it basically creates arousal, right? So I want to make that connection that probably the hyper arousal in PTSD that you get is also maybe reflecting the fact that there's high acetylcholine levels. What I just learned is that arousal is apparently a controversial word, or it's not defined well enough, or whatever. Everything is controversial. Okay, so now I have to read more of that in a second. We'll say though, this text is from 1996, so I think maybe by now, hopefully we've gotten a little bit more information. This one is pretty cool. Basically, when the brain basically had less of these things that made the acetylcholine, it also decreased their ability to detect unpredictable signals. So basically, I think it decreased their amount of vigilance. So acetylcholine is probably important for vigilance. And what do people in PTSD have? Hypervigilance. See, there we go.
So you're breaking up with me because I'm too blonde?
I don't know if it's the actual mental exercise from doing this task, or if it's a consequence of me like just healing as I go along and just lightening the load mentally and just feeling like, okay, I'm more stable now, I finished big tasks or what. But I just feel like I have been finding myself just having an easier time thinking through really, really big abstract concepts as I go along. Again, that could just be practice. Maybe I've gotten better at doing that as I've studied, or maybe I'm just in a better space in life too. But I think it's a really good, important time for me to be like in a good spot in life, because I feel like I'm gonna need like max brain power to get through the most difficult part of this whole thing, which has been gonna be probably my narrative function that I'm building, because I think that one, there could be so many things that could go a little off with it. But I've been really thinking about it recently, brainstorming it as I've gone along the week, even though I'm not really reading. Like, I've been thinking about if I make like a little code for the memories or what, I don't know. I've just been thinking it through. So yeah, but I've been like, I think even, for example, I was seeing the suggested reading for my master's degree program, and I was like, I almost feel like I just got like a little framework of what the master's degree is supposed to be about. I don't know, I just feel like I put together big topics much better now, and that's really helped me navigate my life.
I don't need backups. I'm going to Harvard.
My bruised knee. I've been thinking about if I want to like put an acknowledgement section in and who to acknowledge. And actually, I've been going back and forth on this, but there was one person on Instagram who talked about their dissociative identity disorder. They were actually diagnosed, like genuinely diagnosed within the NHS, and they talked about some elements of their trauma, how they experience their dissociative identity disorder. And it was really, really helpful for me to see them talking about the disorder. It made me continue on and continue to like do the research when I had doubts about, whether, a lot of people said it was false and etc. The disorder. And I feel like looking at her experience, we had so many overlapping experiences in the way that people approached our traumas, similar types of traumas, and just everything. I think even really at similar ages. And obviously it didn't impact me to the same degree, and I think there's a lot of reasons for that, and I etc based on this person. But I think it just gave me faith. It's particularly because they actually genuinely had diagnosis from the NHS. I think that's really special, because sometimes on the internet you don't really know whether, there are people honestly that don't really have a diagnosis, and they, it can happen. And I'm not saying it's fake, but I still believe it's real. So I've been going back and forth on whether to put them in my acknowledgements, or maybe to write a general thank you to just everybody who has shared about their disorder on the internet, because it really helped me to be like, no, this is real, and I'm just seeing how deep the suffering is for this person, and I just want to help them. And just I see how similar our life situations are, and that made me angry, because I saw how people also didn't give them the justice that they deserved, and I related to that really heavily, and that made me feel upset. And just some of the ways that they processed their trauma, I had similar milestones, because they talk about things that they could do again, like finally I can do this again after the trauma. And I think that was really useful to me to see somebody experiencing that, because it just told me to just keep going, like, yes, this is real. So I've been thinking about putting them in my acknowledgements, but I don't know, they post on social media and they're pretty popular-ish on TikTok and Instagram. But I don't know, is it like a bit too much? I don't know how to go about it. So I've been really thinking about that. I might just do like a general one, but yeah. On a serious note, I think it's really interesting how I think that particularly women, but just across the board, but particularly women experiencing sexual abuse of any kind have always just gotten the short end of the stick in psychology. So I found this really interesting. I learned this the other day. So in the 1890s, when Freud was in the dawn of his career, he was struck by how many of his female patients were revealing childhood incest victimization to him. Freud concluded that child sexual abuse was one of the major causes of emotional disturbances in adult women and wrote a brilliant and humane paper called The Etiology of Hysteria. However, rather than receiving reclaim from his colleagues for his groundbreaking insights, Freud met with scorn. He was ridiculed for believing that men of excellent reputation, most of his patients came from upstanding homes, could be perpetrators of incest. Within a few years, Freud buckled down under this heavy pressure and recanted his conclusions. In their place, he proposed the Oedipus complex, which became the foundation of modern psychology. According to his theory, any young girl actually desires sexual contact with her father because she wants to compete with her mother to be the most special person in his life. Freud used this construct to conclude that the episodes of incestuous abuse of his clients had revealed to him had never taken place. Look at the fantasy model right there. They were simply fantasies of events the women had wished for when they were children and that the women had come to believe were real. This construct started a 100-year history in mental health field of blaming victims for the abuse perpetrated on them and outright discrediting of women and children's report of mistreatment by men. So again, this is one of the reasons that I felt so strongly about going and really studying dissociative identity disorder. By the way, this is from the book Why Does He Do That? Inside the Mind of Angry and Controlling Men by Lundy Bancroft, I think. But that's one of the reasons that I went in, and I was like, I just feel like victims of sexual abuse, particularly because a lot of them turn out to be women. Women get this a lot, but also men are sexually abused as well. They just keep getting the short end of the stick and told they're liars. And I just think that that's partly because of the majority population that we have in science and psychology and etc. I mean, I don't know. I think that always, that's who's going to get told that their disorder is false, because why do we think? Because we want to keep perpetuating a situation where people can't get their stories told and they can't get the justice they deserve in the justice system, which was the case for this person that I mentioned about my acknowledgements. And yeah, imagine a world where people, like victims of sexual abuse, were believed. Do you think I feel like our government would look very different, don't you? So I think that's like one of the majority reasons why the fantasy model exists in the first place, even though I don't think people want to see it like that, say it like that, but I think that's the main reason why a mostly male population of scientists would start saying people are fantasy prone, because the alternative is to face the fact that so many women are dealing with sexual abuse and so many women have been raped, so many women have experienced childhood sexual abuse, and like I don't think people want to face that reality because it causes them to confront, like it just creates a sense of danger, doesn't it, for men? And at the colleges, I don't think they want the numbers, don't you think? So makes sense why some of us wouldn't really, like, I don't know, a lot of us aren't really like it's all just a ruse, like it's all really just to put names down. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's all a lie. They don't care. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's just why people don't really get their stories. Nothing happens most of the time. Taking a long study break because I'm mad. I'm too mad to read this. Why is science so sexist? To dedicate my life to this. Can't wait to get every possible detail so that nobody can ever say anything again and people can get their justice. People, stop being sexist. Just FYI, last thing, dissociative identity disorder is literally one of the oldest disorders that we have recorded. Like we have like very old, like from the 1500s, people have been recording like cases of dissociative identity disorder. So I think it's insane to say that it's fake and like, what? We have been like, it is old. Like it existed before people had social media and the internet. I don't know. Or like, what? Me who in the 1500s was socially suggesting to people that they had multiple personalities. Who? Nobody, bro. They didn't have, like, they weren't reading books. They weren't watching movies. Who was socially suggesting to them or creating fantasies for them to have multiple personalities in the 1500s? Does it make logical sense to you? Does it make historical sense to you? What?
Plus, if you quit now, then you're no better than me.
Better than I.
That's a spirit. So let's hear it. Come on. I'm not Josie Grossi anymore.
I'm not Josie Grossi anymore.
That's it. Now, scream it.
I'm not Josie Grossi anymore!
Are you Rihanna? Is this Rihanna? What the fuck? Are you Rihanna? What's your name, girl?
Nani.
Oh, Nani, Nani. Is this your man?
Hell yeah.
Bro, how'd you bag this? Oh my god, how'd you do this? What's your life like, bro? Just a nice guy. Nani. So you just be fucking with nice guys like that?
Hell yeah.
Damn. Nani, what's your name? Dave. Nani and Dave.
These are the 5 best roller coasters at the Universal Orlando Resort. In my opinion, of course. Number 5, Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. Number 4, Revenge of the Mummy. Number 3, The Incredible Hulk. Number 2...